a honeymoon trip to the Maldives, a tour of the Philippines or Austria, and sampling of African continental dishes in Lagos. All these things were put on hold because of the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic. Suddenly, self-isolation became the order of the day, and social distancing became the buzzword. The effect of the pandemic cut across global sectors, and the tourism sector was hit with an avalanche. Look, 2 years later, where are we at? In 2018, international tourism experienced its 9th consecutive year of growth. According to the World Tourism Organization, the year recorded a 1.4 billion international tourist arrivals, and $1.7 trillion was generated in revenue. By 2019, the travel and tourism sector was a $9.8 trillion industry and contributed 10% to the global gross domestic product. The coronavirus pandemic drastically cut the numbers, halving them and causing a massive increase in global unemployment rates. The industry recorded a $4.5 trillion loss, and tourist arrivals dropped by 65% in the first half of 2020 and reached a 78% drop by the end of the year. The decline cost 62 million people their jobs. Asia took the worst hit with 34.1 million jobs lost, while Africa came second at 7.2 million. Also, emerging economies that depend on tourism for foreign earnings and investments saw a sharp drop in their GDP.
The tourism industry can get back on its feet. It's been a hard hit for the last couple of years, but then we get a second wave now with the conflict in Ukraine and Russia, and the commodities, the fuel, the jet fuel, the energy going up. So it's going to put a little bit of a pricing difficulties for the service industry and the tourism industry. And so it's going to be a recovery, but I think it's going to take some more time. We're only seeing now, for example, some of the businesses start to recover a little bit. Now we're getting into the heart of the summer season, so that should bode well.
Vaccinations and the lifting of lockdown restrictions have kickstarted the slow recovery of global tourism. But statistics show values below those recorded before the lockdown. There are still concerns over health safety as Omicron and subvariants appear. The impact of tourism on local environments is also being discussed. In January 2021, there were 415 million tourist arrivals, an increase of 15 million compared to 2020. It rose by 18 million in January 2022, an equivalent to the combined growth of 2020 and 2021. However, it is still below growth rate levels in 2019 by 67%. The Travel and Tourism Development Index, TTDI, a global ranking by the World Economic Forum, was released in early 2022. The TTDI showed a disheartening plunge in the tourism sector with only a 0.1% improvement between 2019 and 2021. 39 countries improved by 1%, while 27 countries fell by over 1%. Nevertheless, experts remain optimistic about the future. The World Travel and Tourism Council has projected a 5.8% annual growth rate from 2022 to 2032. During a conference in Manila, tourism stakeholders agreed on estimations that industry growth would match pre-COVID growth by 2023.
Well, tourism is certainly bouncing back very strongly compared to the levels seen in 2020 and 2021. During the pandemic and the subsequent lockdowns, but it's probably, we estimate, somewhere at 75% of the peak seen in 2019. There are adverse headwinds as well. We're seeing staff shortages on airlines, in airports and air traffic control, leading to large numbers of flights becoming cancelled, and the higher price of energy is feeding into the cost of tickets and travel generally.
The past 2 years have created a greater awareness of tourism's role in economic growth and development, social relations, and global connectivity. There has also been a shift in trends, with domestic tourism preferred to international tourism. Bleisure travels A union of leisure and business activities has also increased.
At the end of the first set of lockdowns, which roughly equates to the beginning of summer 2020, there was an uptick in domestic tourism in a number of different countries, in the UK, for instance. The places that were suffering still from a decline in demand were places people fly to go on holiday. However, in some areas, tourism has come back almost completely. Domestic air travel in the United States has recovered. The transatlantic is about 80% of 2019 levels. European short-haul flights are back. However, Asia and Australasia still have a lot of time yet to recover. China with lockdowns, many flights are restricted, and tourism is almost impossible into China at the moment.
The new dynamics create opportunities for economic improvement for countries that are ready to adapt. And low-income economies would also benefit from rural tourism. By increasing global confidence, restoring international openness, and improving socio-economic conditions, the industry will be put back on track in the near future. And that's all we have for this episode of On Finance. I'm Ray, here to remind you, please keep yourself up to date with all sorts of financial info around the world, and maybe support your future investment decision using our social media channels. I'll see you on the next episode. Goodbye.